Every month, Germany's auto industry loses around 10,000 jobs, and this is happening in the same country that built Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, and BMW. What makes it even more alarming is this. Since 2019, more than 272,000 industrial jobs have disappeared from Germany. That is a warning sign that the power that made Germany rich, respected, and known as Europe's economic engine for decades is now starting to shake. Cheap energy is no longer easy to secure. The massive markets that once bought German products are now making those products themselves. Germany is being forced to run a race where the rules have already changed. Geo-lovers, Germany has not collapsed. But the machine that once made this country win is now operating in an era that no longer plays in its favor. To understand how Germany reached this point, we have to go back to 1990. That was the year West Germany and East Germany finally reunited after decades of being separated by two very different economic systems. On one side stood West Germany, more productive, more open, and better prepared for the global market. On the other side was East Germany, which had spent years under a rigid state-run economy, with aging factories and competitiveness that lagged far behind. Reunification was historic, but economically it was painful. Germany had to bring together two regions moving at very different speeds while making sure people in the East did not feel abandoned. The story of modern Germany's economy begins with those difficult decisions after 1990. When Germany reunited, the world saw it as a moment of victory. The Berlin Wall had fallen. The Cold War was ending. A nation divided for decades was finally standing as one country again. But behind that euphoria, the German government was facing an enormous task. West Germany and East Germany shared the same name, the same language, and the same history. But economically, they were worlds apart. Productivity in the West was much higher. Private companies had already become the backbone of the economy. Industries were used to competing in global markets. In the East, many factories were still tied to the old system. Production equipment was less advanced, management was behind, and many businesses were not ready for free market competition. One of the biggest decisions after reunification was raising wages in the East so they would not fall too far behind the West. Socially, that made sense. A newly reunited country could not allow such a wide income gap to remain inside its own borders, but for industry, the impact was immediate. Production costs rose while many companies in the East were not strong enough to pay higher wages and still compete globally. The 1990s became a difficult decade. Growth slowed. Unemployment climbed. Many began to doubt whether Germany could return as a major economic power. The country was even given a bitter nickname, the sick man of Europe. But from that difficult period, Germany began building a new way to survive. Wages became more disciplined. Industry was strengthened. Exports became the main path forward. Then, in the early 2000s, the world gave Germany a huge opportunity. China was growing fast and needed machinery, cars, chemicals, and production technology. Those were exactly the things Germany knew how to make. That was when Germany surged again. German cars entered global markets. German-made machines powered factories around the world. Its chemical and manufacturing products became key parts of global supply chains. Trade, which had accounted for around 40% of Germany's GDP after reunification, rose to nearly 89% by the early 2020s. Germany had escaped its sick man era, but that success depended on very clear conditions. The world had to keep buying German products, production costs had to remain manageable, and global trade routes had to keep running smoothly. As long as those conditions held, Germany looked extremely strong. But when one of them started to change, the story began to shift. Germany's advantage did not only come from powerful cars, precision machines, or chemicals used by industries around the world. Behind all of that was one major support system that often went unnoticed: cheap energy. The roots of this story go back decades. During the Cold War, West Germany built energy ties with the Soviet Union. German companies supplied pipes and helped with financing, while gas from the East flowed into Europe. After reunification, that relationship became even more important. Russian gas arrived through pipelines. It was cheaper than liquefied natural gas, which had to be shipped by sea and processed again at special terminals. For an industrial country, this was not a small advantage. Chemical plants, steel mills, glass factories, fertilizer producers, machinery companies, and automakers all require massive amounts of energy. When energy is cheaper, production costs can be kept lower. When production costs are under control, German products can remain competitive in the global market, even with high worker wages. This was one reason Germany managed to keep a major manufacturing base while many other wealthy countries shifted more heavily towards services. Britain and France no longer had the same manufacturing weight as Germany. Germany was different. Its factories remained the heart of the economy. Chemicals from BASF, cars from Volkswagen, machine components from family-owned companies in small towns, all of them lived inside the same ecosystem. Precision production, massive exports, and energy that helped hold the system together. Then Germany made decisions that made gas even more important. The country began moving away from nuclear power and reducing coal. Politically and environmentally, that direction had its reasons, but for industry, it made gas the main bridge. Gas was seen as cleaner than coal, more stable than renewable energy, and at the time, still easy to obtain from Russia. The real problem came when an economic relationship that had once been seen as a source of stability turned into a major risk. After Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, Germany could no longer treat Russian gas as normal business. Nord Stream 2 certification was suspended. Nord Stream 1 flows later stopped. Then in September 2022, the Nord Stream pipelines were damaged by explosions in the Baltic Sea. In a short period, one of the pillars of German industry disappeared. The impact did not instantly shut down every factory. Germany is still a wealthy country. Its government could look for new supplies, build LNG terminals, reduce consumption, and provide support for households and businesses. But more expensive energy changed the basic math of industry. Factories that once thrived because they were efficient now had to produce with heavier costs. For large corporations, this was painful. For mid-sized manufacturers, it could be even harder. The chemical industry shows this most clearly. This sector does not just use energy to power machines. Gas is also a raw material. When gas prices rise, chemical plants are hit from two sides. Production costs rise, and a core input becomes more expensive. Germany still has major names like BASF, but some energy-intensive industrial activity has not fully returned to where it was before the crisis. This is where Germany's deeper shift becomes visible. For decades, the country believed trade could make political relationships safer. The more business there was with Russia, the lower the chance of major conflict. The war in Ukraine shattered that belief. Energy that once helped Germany win in global markets suddenly became a reminder that even a powerful economy can be trapped by resources from outside its borders. And while Germany was busy rebuilding its energy system, the next challenge came from the same direction that had once made the country rich: a massive market in Asia that no longer wanted to only buy. For years, China was good news for Germany. As China's economy grew rapidly, its factories needed machines, chemicals, components, and production technology. Its middle class also expanded, then began buying premium cars. For Germany, China looked like a giant market arriving at exactly the right time, just when the country needed new momentum after the difficult 1990s. Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz gained a major position in China. German cars became status symbols, especially among the upper middle class in big cities. Behind them, machinery companies and component suppliers also benefited from massive demand. The relationship looked mutually beneficial. China needed German quality and industrial experience. Germany needed a huge market that kept growing. But relationships like this do not stay balanced forever. China learned fast. It did not want to remain only a buyer. The government poured huge investment into technology, batteries, electric vehicles, advanced manufacturing, and domestic supply chains. Within a few years, the results became clear. China was not only able to make its own products, It could also sell them at more aggressive prices and at a production scale that was difficult to match. This shift is most visible in the auto industry. German companies once came to China carrying reputation. Now Chinese producers are entering global markets with electric vehicles, batteries, software, and prices that make many competitors nervous. BYD, SAIC, Geely, and several other players are starting to pressure markets that once felt safe for European automakers. For Germany, the impact is huge. The auto industry is not just about factories and sales. Inside it are workers, suppliers, industrial towns, and national pride. When German automakers fall behind in the transition to electric vehicles and digital systems, the damage spreads far beyond one company. Trade data shows where this is heading. From January to September 2025, German exports to China fell 12.3%. Exports to the United States also dropped 7.8%. At the same time, German imports from China rose 8.5%. Those numbers reveal a painful shift. Germany is selling less to China, but buying more from China. That means China has become a direct competitor in industries that used to be a source of German confidence. And when that competitor moves quickly, Germany cannot rely only on the strength of its old reputation. Germany is now in a difficult position. If it pulls away from China, many companies lose an important market and supply chain. If it stays too dependent, those companies become more exposed when political relations change. This is Germany's new dilemma. The market that once helped save its economy is now tightening the path of its own industry. And before Germany can fully calculate the changes coming from China, another reality is waiting across the Atlantic. A major market that has long been crucial for German exports is starting to play by tougher rules. After China changed, Germany still had another major pillar, the United States. For years, United States market has been an important destination for German cars, machinery, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, and many other industrial products. In the United States, German-made goods have a strong image, expensive but trusted. Not always the cheapest, but seen as high quality. The problem is that a market that big no longer feels as comfortable as it once did. In 2025, Germany's goods trade with the United States fell 5% compared with the previous year. The United States remained Germany's second largest trading partner, with trade worth around 240.5 billion euros. But China overtook it again, recording around 251.8 billion euros in trade with Germany. This shows how difficult Germany's position has become. One old market is weakening while another market is turning into an increasingly powerful competitor. The shift in the United States is especially serious because it directly hits the industry Germany is most proud of. Tariff policy makes European goods, including cars and components, more expensive to enter the American market. In 2025, the United States and the European Union did create a trade framework, but tariffs remained a major bargaining tool. For automobiles, combined tariffs of up to 15% became a key part of the arrangement. In steel, aluminum, and copper, tariffs remained much higher. For German manufacturers, this is not just a number inside a trade document. If the cost of entering the U.S. market rises, companies have to choose: raise prices, cut margins, move some production, or accept weaker sales. Every option comes with consequences. In the past, Germany could sell in many directions with confidence: to China, to the United States, to other European countries, and to the wider global market. Now, trade is increasingly used as a policy weapon. Major countries are protecting their own industries. Markets are not as open as they once were. And Germany, which has long built its strength on exports, has to face the fact that quality alone is not always enough. As two major markets change, Germany's problems are not only coming from abroad. Inside the country, the very system that once made it stable is often moving too slowly for a new era. Germany's crisis cannot be explained only by Russian gas, Chinese competition, or U.S. tariffs. Those three forces have shaken the country from the outside. But inside Germany, another problem has been building for years. The system is too slow for a world that now changes fast. That may sound strange because Germany has long been known for order, discipline, and strong planning. But being orderly does not always mean being fast. In the new economy, companies need to be able to start businesses, handle permits, move capital, hire workers, build data centers, develop software, and enter new technologies with more speed. This is where Germany often falls behind. One example is bureaucracy. To set up a limited liability company, the process still involves 14 procedures in 7 different administrative bodies. For a country trying to catch up in the digital economy, that is a real obstacle. Young people with tech ideas do not only need capital, they need fast processes, rules that are easy to understand, and a path that is not clogged with administrative delays. Another problem is government digitalization. Many administrative data systems are not well connected across regions. In some areas, the federal government, state governments, and cities use different rules or standards. As a result, decisions that should move quickly often move slowly. This does not only hurt small startups. Infrastructure projects, renewable energy, transportation, and new factory investments can all get stuck in long procedures. At the same time, Germany is also facing a labor problem. Over the next 10 years, around 20 million workers are expected to retire, while only 12.5 million people are expected to enter the labor market. That means Germany does not just need new factories. It also has to find the people who will work in those factories, laboratories, hospitals, tech offices, and service sectors that support the economy. This is where Germany's dilemma becomes even clearer. The country still has major companies, excellent engineers, strong universities, and production capabilities respected around the world. But old strengths are no longer enough. The new world demands more flexible energy, faster technology, bolder capital, and government decisions that do not move too slowly. Germany has risen before after being called the sick man of Europe in the late 1990s. The difference is that back then the main problems were unemployment and labor costs. Today, the challenge is far more complex. There are jobs, but the workforce is shrinking. There is industry, but the market is changing. There is capital, but it often does not flow fast enough into risky new companies. Germany has not run out of options. Its government has begun preparing major investment in infrastructure, digitalization, defense, energy, and future industries. But the real issue is not only whether the money is enough, what matters more is whether the country can move faster than the changes now chasing it. Germany has not collapsed. Its factories are still standing, its brands are still powerful, and its technology is still respected around the world. But its most comfortable era is over. This country once won because the world needed its cars, machines, and industrial products. Now that same world is changing direction. Energy is more expensive. Major markets can no longer be taken for granted. New competitors are moving faster. Germany still has a chance to rise again, but this time, a great name will not be enough. Because in the new world, the countries that survive are not always the most experienced ones. They are the ones that realize fast enough that the very way they won yesterday could become the reason they fall behind tomorrow.